If tomorrow was your last day on this planet, would you feel like you left enough out on the water? Today's guest has spent decades chasing that question across marshes, oceans, rivers, surf breaks, and wilderness trails around the world. We're talking about a new book, years in the making, the adventures behind it, and why some of the best stories begin when you leave the easy road behind. Today we're joined once again by Riverhorse Nakadate. Riverhorse is a writer, conservationist, Patagonia ambassador, filmmaker, and lifelong wanderer whose new book, Waterlines, brings together some of the most unforgettable adventures, lessons, and reflections from a life spent following water wherever it leads. This is the Wet Fly Swing podcast, where I show you the best places to travel to for fly fishing, how to find the best resources and tools to prepare for that big trip, and what you can do to give back to the fish species we all love. Today, Riverhorse is going to talk about Waterlines, this new book, and the incredible story of working with Patagonia and getting this published. We're going to find out what it was like recording the audiobook here and in the studio with some of the biggest names in music. We're also going to find out about this publishing process, what it felt like, and also get into some conservation concerns out there, including the boundary waters. We're going to get an update on the boundary waters and some of the crazy adventures Riverhorse is on. This is a fun one. Always good to get Riverhorse on. You can check in with him at Riverhorse_Nakadate on Instagram, and you can check out Waterlines, A Life Lived on Marshes, Rivers, Seas, and in the Rain. You can go to Patagonia.com right now and check in with that book. Here he is, Riverhorse Nakadate. How you doing, Riverhorse?
Oh my gosh, best day ever.
Nice, man. Always good to hear your voice on the podcast here, get caught up with you. It's been a little while. I was looking back. We've got, I guess the first episode takes us back to 2019, 21. The last one we had on was 2023. So it's been a few years now. So we're looking forward to an update with you. But maybe just since it's been a few years, give folks just a little update on what you've been up to, who you are out there for those people that haven't heard your name before.
Cool. Well, I'm a Texas journalist and environmentalist and fisherman, kind of known for just running wild all over the earth and writing stories for magazines, doing some movies, and I'm a Patagonia ambassador, so that's pretty amazing. I never dreamed that I would get to hang with all those rock stars and legends and in our fly fishing world. But I've been pretty head down since we last talked, just the last 5 years when I'm not out in it. I've been working on this book, and it's been such a cool path. I feel like, I don't know, we had the pandemic and all that, and these were wild times to be creating art and trying to leave my barbaric Whitman yacht for the world. But here we are, the book's out, and I'm thrilled. I could tell you about the road to it soon when we talk about that, because that's just been, it's been...
Talk about because you've written a lot, obviously, but as far as books, how does this book relate to everything else you've done before?
It's the different world. You have a little more room, but I made it a point to not change my voice or writing style. I like things really tight. Who was that? Tom Petty, the musician with the Heartbreakers. He always said, "Don't bore us, get to the chorus." And I'm a big fan of that, just really tight, clean prose poetry writing. So when you get the book, you listeners out there, the stories just fly by, and they're really fast, and hopefully really, each paragraph takes you a long ways instead of those, just slogs that some books can be. But I did open it up a little bit. I will say I feel like I kept the best pieces for the book. There's pieces that were crazier than ever and pretty just, near-death adventures and surfing and guitar. And I always save that stuff for the book. I know I've been in a lot of magazines, but the cream of the crop is in there, and a lot of that nobody's ever known. So, and then there's obviously just some deep down heartbreaking stuff, and there's some hot romance in there. You get to check out you get to check out all my moves. So fasten your seatbelt.
Right on. Right, that's so cool. Yeah, it's interesting with authors and writing. We had John Gierach on a while back, and obviously he's passed away, and he was a big influence to a lot of people. And the way he wrote was, I think some people said he wrote for the common man. But his writing was so unique. And I've been chatting a little bit with Tom McGuane because we're going to be talking to him too, and I know he influenced John Gierach, right? And I'm sure there's all these connections. What is that? Take us back there on your writing. Who were some of those people that were influential, and maybe who are some writers out there that maybe are similar or write similarly to how you write?
Yeah, McGuane and Gierach are awesome. And Gierach's, the guy who actually first made a living as a fly fishing writer. So and that was wonderful reading all those books. But that wasn't really I was always looking at the transcendentalists and reading a bunch of Gandhi and John Muir and Emerson. And I'd be just crazy for all the old stuff, Whitman and Thoreau. And I know that's old school, but God, I could never get enough of that stuff. So a lot of it's in the book even.
It is. That's awesome. Yeah. So, and your influence is where did that start? Again, I mean, we're gonna kind of take it back a little bit here, but just on the conservation ethic, and I want to bring that into the Patagonia because I think that's a pretty powerful connection. But when did that start for you? When did the whole conservation moment start for you?
Well, I mean, I always was crazy for it, just being out there. Like, I guess even as a kid and going into high school, like on Friday nights, I don't know what other people did, but I was hauling ass into the woods alone and fishing and hiking and just learned how special these places are from the get-go. But it talks about it in the very introduction of the book. But I was watching Jacques Cousteau and Wild Kingdom and watching him sail all over the world drove me crazy. Like I was like, listen, I may be first or second grader, but I gotta graduate. I gotta get out there. Who needs this school stuff? So
That's it. That's it. But let's just highlight that really quick. The name of the book that's out there, people can pick it up right now, and then we'll get into maybe some of the stories there. What is the title of the book?
so it's called Water Lions: A Life Lived on Marshes, Rivers, Seas, and in the Rain. 32 stories, an introduction and an index, and I didn't know they would ever do an index with my book, which is just that listing at the end of all the different places and people and moments in the book. So even reading that, just wow, it's so much fun. I look back, I'm like, wow, what a triptych of my life. Like it's
Right.
like baboons, Buddhism, yoga. Like it's just hilarious.
Right. Does it cover what range? Do the stories go way back, or are they more and more recent?
Oh, definitely recent, the last few years. But then, I'm in the midst of a 3 a.m. drive somewhere. I'll reflect on some other things. So, but I talk a lot about as a kid, nobody wanted to. I mean, I'd have a buddy that would fish or something, and they'd only last an hour. And I was like, well, I couldn't find any people that could hang that long or wanted to be gone for days. So I feel that that's just all those transcendentalists, like they got it, just running wild on your own. So many of the stories of that, even my years and years chasing surf all over the world, like same thing. I didn't have anybody that wanted to fly to Africa for 2 months and hike the Southern Cross.
Right.
So, yeah, the books, there's so many stories in there for, there's rock stars and an NFL
Right.
quarterback and drug cartel backed machine gun boat chases and I mean, it's just, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow.
So you've been close to on the brink a few times, close to death, that all that.
There's 3 or 4 in there
Yeah.
where it's like, wow, I think this is it.
Yep. Yep. But you're still here. What is the Patagonia? We've been working with them this year, talking about their swift current waders and just all the good stuff. And I've been talking about them for years. I think that they've led by example for a long time and inspired people. But what was that? When did you first connect with them? Was that a little bit ago?
I think it's been about 10 years now, and they were supporting first Flyfish Journal and Patagonia did that film called Love and Water, following me all over Texas. And they supported that. And then I did the Boundary Waters film and this recent Lapland Sami Tribe Reindeer Journals film. But I think been an ambassador for 6 or 7 years. But even those years before, they would stuff or send a little gear. And the way the Patagonia ambassador, that's just the funniest question. But how do you get to be an ambassador? I'm like, wow, you gotta like walk the walk for 30 years and pour your heart out to your
That's right.
community and the earth. And like,
Yeah.
good luck with that. Like, you should have already been doing it. But yeah, I never dreamed it. I can remember even ordering some gear from them and calling up on the phone, years ago, and being thrilled that I even got to talk. Wow, I just talked to Patagonia. And, that was like, because, well, even now with the book coming out, it's hard to process. It's such an honor. And, Admin Abanchinard wrote me a long letter about the book. He read it before it came out, and his wife, and he's like, "These words are so powerful. You need to keep doing this." And I was like, "God, this is pretty. It makes me want to inspire me to keep going." And so many of those projects that I'm doing with the environment are really heartbreaking, and especially this new Boundary Waters News. Like, I worked 3 years of my life to make that movie, and they're like, wow, we got it. We're still trying to push those guys back and keep a foreign billionaire out of our public wilderness. So it's crazy times, a lot of work to do, but like, without a doubt, that's just the honor of my life, being a part of that Patagonia team and having this book with rock stars like Jerry Lopez, Liz Clark Swell, and Yvonne's books. And I can't even imagine seeing it in the store. I'm like, this is crazy. I get it. Like, I know I have my deal and my own just wild take on life, but it's just such an honor. And what's funny is the book. I did the proposal for the book with this guy, John Dutton, the editor at Patagonia, and I always felt that's where the book would be. But so I turned in the proposal because they wanted it, and that's right when Yvonne made the Earth the owner of the company. And so for a year, the manuscript sat there because they getting a new CEO, Ryan Gellert, and they had to see what they're going to do. Are there going to be more books, or how many do we do? And so it sat for a year. And then I got a call one day. It's like, good, congrats. It went in front of the board, which was Yvonne and Melinda and Ryan and a couple others. They had all read the previous stories and the proposal. And so they greenlighted it. Had a meeting on Zoom the next day with Carla and the team, and they're like, "Here we go." I'm like, "Wow!" And they sent the contract, and it was amazing. And so I hunkered down for another year or so writing, turned it in, and the next day my editor retires.
Hmm.
So it
Wow.
sits for another year,
Oh, no way.
but they give it to one editor to just like read it and say, "Yeah, he did his job. This is killer, and let's do it." And then I get assigned another editor, this mountain climber, Matt Samet, who worked for Outside. And so we spent a few months just bearing down on it. And I thought, okay, here we go. Here goes the book. And then they're like, great job. Now we're giving you over to Sharon Rutik, your next editor. I was like, what? Another one? So it's three editors.
Oh,
And
wow.
she was incredible. And, we did that. And then it goes through three copy editors to proof it. And you deal with each one of those. And a design team. They were flying around the country interviewing artists. So there's 24 watercolor paintings with the book. Even the cover wraps around. It's just incredible. So then once they had an artist they really liked, they asked me, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And so I had meetings with her and sent her all these photos for moments in the book. And she'd do sketches, and we'd talk about them and the colors. And we got to pick those together. So finally, here we go. The book is out, and can't believe it.
Sounds like a lot of work, a lot of time to get there. What do you think it would have been, if you were, let's say, just doing this on your own? I mean, some people are actually even self-publishing, right? I mean, that's still, how do you think the book would be different if you did something like that versus working with Patagonia?
Just the beauty of the packaging and just the artistic statement of it. Like, there's an environmental statement in the front, and there, I mean, even doing the audiobook. Did I tell you about this?
No, uh-uh.
So for the audiobook, I always figured it was me, but they farm out the audiobook to Random House Penguin, which is huge. So I get an email from them, and oh, listen, we've got 5 different legendary voices, voice actors, and here's their samples of your book. And I didn't even listen to any of them. I wrote back, wait, what? Like, that's my book. Like, I lived it. I was there. You know, I have a decent, I feel like I've narrated movies and Toyota commercials. Like, hey, give me a shot, guys. And which was still, I thought, holy bleep, you know, I can't, this has got to be tough. So they say, okay, you do it. And they booked me into the studio where Beyonce has recorded a bunch and
Oh,
Beck
wow.
and Ludacris. So, and it's here in Houston.
Huh.
So I get in there and there's all these Beyonce records and I put the headphones on, there's a big screen and an iPad and a producer there and a guy from LA and we're all on live and he's like watching me read the whole book
Oh
and
my
I'm and
gosh.
this great microphone. And I just went for 2 days straight. It was supposed to be 3 days, but I rocked it out in 2 days. But even that was like, wow, you know, you have to read 300 pages almost, every word perfect. And I just, you know, I just closed my eyes and just locked in. And then they called me back and there were only 9 words to correct.
No way.
Yeah.
9 word. And how many words is the book?
Oh, shoot, like 80,000.
80,000, only nine. How, obviously, you know the book better than anybody else, but that still seems, I mean, if I was up there reading it, I mean, you would think, yeah, there would be hundreds and hundreds of mistakes, right? Because how'd you do it? You just kind of, you said locked in and you're kind of in that zone, probably, right?
Yeah, just story time.
Yeah, story time. Exactly.
And even I got stories. Spring Creek Master. There's a couple of hilarious big fart noises, and I was like, "Oh, you know, you can always wonder how do I make this bit." I've done it at readings, but I just made a couple huge ones, and I stopped and I asked the producer, "How's that?" Magnificent. I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay."
oh, really?
I was like, "All right, glad that works. Keep
Oh, that's
rolling,"
awesome.
you know. But one of the 9 words was John Muir, and they're like, "It's a mirror," and
Oh,
I was like, well, John Muir. And they're I like, listen, I'm a Texan and with a drawl and a slow roll and it's John Muir. And they're like, no, say mirror. And I was like, okay, fine. And then the other one was this French Renaissance philosopher, Michael de Montaigne. He was awesome. And they wanted the French pronunciation. I was like, hey, what? So it was Michel de Montaigne. And I was like, wow,
uh,
okay. I
yeah,
don't agree, but I'll change it
yeah,
because you
change it.
guys are the pros, you know, and stuff like that. I was like, it was funny to me.
Yeah, that is so good. Wow. And you mentioned John Muir and John Muir a couple of times, but I mean, talk about that a little bit for those folks out there. I mean, I think probably most people have heard that name before, but how did he, maybe describe what he did out there? What was his, influence?
I mean, he's pretty famous for Yosemite and his books and riding around there and lived in the California coast. But boy, just like Thoreau, like I really feel he walked the walk for caring about the earth and not just caring about it, but being blown away by it because I'm a weirdo. You know, I'm still just staring at sunsets and clouds, and I cannot believe how incredible this earth is. Like, as many things have I seen, and I'm just crazy for it. I mean, I'll look up and watch rainstorms in the canoe, and I just nonstop. Even the full moon that was last night,
Yeah,
I was
that's
up at
right.
5 this morning, hiking under the moon. I've been out in the marshes alone under that moon, and as it built up, and even I swam a mile before this podcast at the pool,
Oh,
and I
wow.
was like the first rays of sun were coming down into the water and reflecting off the bottom of the pool, and I was just freaking out. Oh, this is beautiful. This is great. You know, so those I feel like those are my kindred souls. And I'll tell you a John Muir book that nobody talks about. So
Yeah.
listen to this. When he was a ninth grader, he would read all these botany books, and he's living on a farm in Indiana. And he told his dad, "Hey, I think I'd like to go to Florida to see all these flowers." And this is the time of the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
And he's a ninth grader on a farm, and his dad goes,
Jeez.
"All right, cool, go for it." And so he's going to walk from Indiana to Florida at the very end of the Civil War, like right through all the South, everything. So he
Wow.
puts this backpack together, a knapsack with sandwiches and some books, and he takes off all the way
Oh
to
my
Florida. And
God.
these guys try to rob him, and they like look in his pack, and there's a peanut butter sandwich and 3 flower books, and they just look at him like, well, what the hell, dude? He's just a kid and they let him go and he makes it to Florida, 1,000-mile walk or whatever. And then he gets typhoid or something because he's trying to catch a freighter to Cuba, but he sees all these plants. He's in the forest there and just blown away. And that was as a ninth grader. So
Wow.
nobody talks about that book.
No,
I never meet anybody that knows it. I'm like, this is the great, all of us, no GPS,
no. Wow. That's crazy. And what was the name of that book?
1,000-mile walk to the Gulf.
Jeez.
I'm crazy for that book. And it's old school writing, like it's cheese, but it's,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like there's that, well, it's great.
That is
But
so cool.
you want to
Wow.
talk about some street cred? Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you're talking about. Like living it, right? You're actually doing it as a freshman in high school, right?
Yeah.
God, that's so crazy. Yeah, I always go back to that with the kids, thinking about like, man, if I was to send my, my daughter's pretty close to that, actually the same age. She's going to be in ninth grade next year. And I mean, I can't imagine, right? Like, how do you look at that? Do you think this world, I mean, obviously the Civil War was a crazy time, and environmentally, things are changing always too. We got some crazy stuff going on now. What's your take on that? Do you feel like we repeat ourselves? Is it getting worse, getting better? What's your take on it?
Oh, that's a lot of work to do. But I think these generations, these young kids coming up, like your kids, and they smell a rat. They're like, oh man, you guys left us a big old mess. And politically, both sides are just weirdo. Like, I'm like, come on, guys, everybody just do right for our country is so awesome. And it's just a divided time. And we need to pull it together. And great leadership. We can turn the tables. But I just focus on doing my part. Like if I pay too much attention to it, it'll slow you in your tracks. And we can't have like the only answer is either to do the work and take care of each other or to roll over. And I'm not here to roll over. I'm here to open a can of whoop ass and keep rich billionaires out of the boundary waters where 20% of the fresh water and the entire forest system is like that.
Wow.
Of all the things people value in life other than love, like clean water is the most precious thing. You can't live without it. So
No.
no, there's work to do, and I love these kids coming up, and I think they're pretty cool. It's a weird world with all their technology and everything, but I think they're just gonna call BS on stuff and get us back on track, even though it's a big old mess.
I know, I know. I think you're right. They're going to be on top of it. Well, we were on another podcast. We were talking about Alaska, actually, some of the conservation issues up there, including like some, they're proposing a new dam on the Susitna. They're like giant road builds and stuff like that. But on that episode, they mentioned the boundary waters, the fact that there were some changes there, and I hadn't heard all the details. Can you give us a little update on that? It sounds like maybe there was like some steps back on the status of protection up there.
Yeah, there's a law, the CR law, and they used it illegally and interpreted it wrong to a senator out of Minnesota, Rep. Stauber, who's just awful. He's just awful. And somebody's getting a payback somewhere, like big kickbacks. We know they are at downtown at the Pennsylvania Avenue, but he proposed that they use that to allow mining with no review in such an incredible America's most visited wilderness. And I'm not going to go into all the details. There was a $6 million mansion given
Oh
to the
wow.
administration, and his daughter and son-in-law moved in by the Chilean billionaire gave it to him. It was in the Times and blah blah blah. Same old thing, just money, 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 and
Right.
and they're supposed to do great things. And I'm not a fan of either side right now. I just think they're not getting along. They're just not working together and not representing us. So all of them, I'm like, wow, you guys are a mess. And anyway, so the boundary waters, even in that act, they said that there can be no review. Like we can't even discuss it.
So no environmental protection agency,
No,
no.
no, and bypasses the Clean Water Act and
Wow.
everything. So,
Wow.
and the crazy part is that hard rock mining is the most toxic thing in the world. There's never been one of those mines in history that 100% of those have failed and decimated the areas. So it's like a no-brainer. But it's a bad thing. 80% of Minnesotans are against it. Right now, the outdoor industry provides up to 18,000 sustainable jobs there. And they think like building a mine there would bring in 200 some jobs. And this guy has promised that any copper he gets goes to China and Russia and not us. Like, is this a joke?
All
Come to
right.
our country, ruin a wilderness, and then send it to Russia and China, and you keep
God,
the profits? Like, at
that's
the
crazy.
very worst case scenario,
Yeah,
let our own, keep the copper for our country, our phones and, air conditioner lines and whatever, like, and let the profits go here. And it's just kickback after kickback, I'm sure. But so now that that CR was used for that in the boundary waters, they're saying they can use it all over the country. So
oh wow.
it sets a precedent, and if it's illegal. The good news is that Minnesota, there's this thing called the bad actor bill. And, if somebody's just a terrible person to come into your state, they're going to do wrong and harm. With the bad actor bill, you can, if the majority votes and say, hey, no, you can't come here, no matter what federal says, Minnesota can say, no, it's still our state and stay out. So hopefully Waltz gets it together, and he's just been, nobody's hearing much from him. But they can block it, and there's a couple other things they can do. And each of those mines has to get a lease from Minnesota as well. So,
So there's another step. It's not a done deal yet. And I remember, you hear that too in Alaska. So we've covered Alaska quite a bit on some of the issues like Bristol Bay and stuff. And it feels like it's not like a done deal ever. You can stop the mine, but there's going to be a new company coming back at it, right? Trying to find. There's going to be change in politics too, right? So it feels like you're always got to be there. How do if somebody listening now, how could they maybe help get involved? What would you tell them if they're interested in protecting these areas?
I would act locally, like find community and act locally. Like here, even in Texas, outside of Austin, my buddy Alvin Dito,
Oh yeah, Alvin, right.
yeah, he just did the Lower Colorado Trash Bash. And every year for his birthday, he brings everybody he knows together to clean up trash on the river. Like that's his birthday party, is spending his time pouring his heart out for the river. Like just act locally, find your community. That can be overwhelming otherwise. And
Yeah.
it's so nice to have a group of people that you're into the same thing. And down here, there's CCA, the Coastal Conservation, and Patagonia always has cool events at their stores and with the action that you can take and people to join. So I like just the power in local communities. Me, I like, with being an ambassador, I get to do huge, global and national pieces and talk about the reindeer and climate change in movies and stuff. But local is where it's at. There's so much work to do. Like you can't go to Florida and deal with big sugar. I
Right.
mean, it's everywhere. Striped bass on the East Coast. Like it's just, I've been working on this piece on the Lavaca River in Texas, and I did a big Patagonia event at the store in Austin. But it's the last free-flowing river in Texas, and there's a Taiwanese chemical company called Formosa, and they make Ziploc baggies, all these plastics, and they've had more pollution fines than anybody in the history of Texas. In those realms, and all that empties into the bay. They're already on a different river, and they bought a bunch of land on the Lavaca, and they want to do it again. And so I've been down there meeting with old school Republican ranchers and, young, hip, liberal environmentalists, and everybody's like, dude, get out of here. We don't want Taiwanese. So,
Right.
there's so much work to do. And even paddling that river, like a barred owl came down, and I was like, oh,
Oh,
what a
nice.
beautiful place. Do we want a chemical plant here that pours microplastics into the Gulf? No. And the crazy thing is their other plant that's already in Texas on a river gets like a $30,000 fine every month there for, a pollution fine. And I'm pretty sure they make over 35 million a month. Like I gotta look at
Right.
the number, but it's like they don't care.
No, they don't care.
So who is making these fines so small?
Right.
It's like your parents say, oh, if we want you home at 10 o'clock, here's your curfew. We're worried, we want you to be safe, but go have fun. But if you come home past 10 o'clock, You get one less, you know, bite of food at dinner or something like that. You don't care. Like,
Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's
so.
got to mean something. It's otherwise, yeah, you've got to have something that it's got some teeth, right? That is gonna. And it sounds like some of these stories are in the book. Maybe you could break that out a little bit. Maybe you can grab a couple, two or three. Where would you start if you're going to pop out a couple of your essays and talk about some things that really kind of resonate with you, folks? What would you pull out? That's probably a hard question.
Well, I mean, I feel the book, there's a lot of flow to it, and there's a lot of life moments that are obviously in sequential orders. But are you asking environmentally or just fun stuff or?
Yeah, just in general, maybe just a couple of, and I kind of go back again when I think about, different authors, and it's hard because you kind of write similarly, right, with these essays, bringing things together. Maybe what are some, you talked about Yvonne. What do you think would be something that he would pull out and say, oh, this is one you got to read. This is one that really resonated.
I mean, Yvonne's a surfer
Yeah.
and he loves surfing. And there's some, that was for 10 years, I was a staff writer for Surfing Magazine out of California. And I still love surfing. And there's a piece towards the end that is in Africa. And as a little boy, had seen this fish called the potato fish in a book my dad gave me when I was a kindergartner. And I always wanted to see that fish. And I'd read through these scuba dive websites that they live in a certain place and they stay there for years. And I had read about one in Mozambique. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to fly to Africa and just like try to get into this village, cross the border from South Africa into Mozambique. And I want to like free dive and try to find this fish. And
Wow.
but on the way, of course, like I've got maps on a napkin from the surf spot that I knew about on a VHS tape. So and there's some crazy things that happen in there, and it's there's it's tough out there. There's a lot of carjackings and
Right.
soloing in there. So that was a crazy piece. That towards the end, I will say the last story was just that I bet he loved that. But there's a total eclipse about to happen, and I'm like dreaming of being on this empty forest lake in the middle of the Texas-Oklahoma border where nobody is for the 4 minutes and 21 seconds of totality. And I'm like, could I catch a bass under the exploding eclipse? And got all this. So that's a rad adventure that ends it. There's some romance in there, and that's pretty fun. And so many cool pieces. I tried to temper, there's some heartbreaking stuff, some terrifying stuff. And I tried to temper it with the really buck wild, rowdy, hilarious stuff like being in a country club golf course on national television. I didn't know they were there filming. Boy, that was a national televised golf tournament. I'm sticking this 8-pound bass right underneath all the cameras. The
Oh,
cops are
wow.
coming after me, and silliness like that,
Oh, wow.
or a yoga studio. This silliness. So I tried to blend all that. So cool to be in there with my buddy that's an NFL quarterback. There's ZZ Top in there, and I just you just have to read it from the top. They go so fast. Like even the reviews coming out, Kirkus reviews and Fly Fisherman magazine, they're just like, wow, these just what a flow and the font, everything. That was one thing Patagonia, that team, like their books are just beautiful to hold in your hand.
Right. Right. This is cool. Wow. So this is one where, yeah, just pretty much just pick it up and go. Don't even worry about picking out stories. Just read it. Read
Yeah,
them.
straight through. I would say straight through. I would love it to be read that way, and that was the intention. But even that awesome Oregon stuff, a couple pieces, an Arctic Circle, and
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Wow.
pretty.
What were if you had to run down some of the species, you kind of mentioned it, but what did you cover? How many, well, maybe not even how many, but what were some of those species you covered? You kind of, it sounds like you covered a little bit of everything.
I mean, a world record snooks in there on the fly. Bass after redfish, all kinds of trout, huge pike, like
Yeah.
Arctic char,
Where was the pike? Where were we at for the pike?
Lapland,
Lapland. Wow.
using bass frogs with 30-pound wire leader, just rocking them.
Wow. And then what about Oregon? What was the Oregon connection?
So when I was growing up in Austin, I was just a young single mom going to UT, and I mean, we were no money. We're on food stamps, and government's giving us cheese and clothing. We're in this little apartment, and but in the backyard is the river, and so I got to grow up with the river in the backyard. Like I just felt like billionaires back there, and my mom falls in love when I was a kindergartner with a teacher, an English teacher at the University of Texas, but he happens to be a Stanford grad who's a steelheader from Oregon. Like he grew up in Portland, and his dad's a steelheader. So in Manzanita,
Oh my gosh.
right on Neocani Mountain, is our cabin, Grandpa's fishing cabin.
Oh
So he
wow.
marries my mom. He's the coolest dad. Like we start, you know, sharing literature talks right off the bat. He gives me that book with the fish that's in Africa. And every summer we'd drive from Austin, Texas to Manzanita. And we'd bounce between there and Portland. So all my summers were in Oregon, and it just opened up I was like, wow, I started skimboarding and then surfing, digging clams and catching big sea perch down at Garibaldi. And Oregon just changed everything for me. And then there's a great piece in there about Brian O'Keefe. There's a story in there, a long piece where he and I go out on all these adventures. Just one of them's a near death one in Oregon. But man, Oregon, Oregon, what a place. And gosh,
Yeah. It is pretty cool. That's really awesome on Manzanita. Yeah, that's like right next door for me on the coast. I mean, that's the cool thing about it, right? You got these towns, you're right on the beach, the oceans, you can hear it out the door. And you have these steelhead, right? You also have the winter steelhead that are migrating in during this time, which is cool. Man, so this is awesome. I think that, there's obviously a lot here to cover. How do you maybe describe when you're putting one of these essays together, are you thinking first about the species, the conservation, issue? How do you go into these things? How does like one of these stories evolve?
but it's none of that even. I'm just running hard, living my life. Like a lot in the book, you'll see me just getting interested in a place. I've been reading books about it or something, and I fill the floor of the sunroom with maps, and I'm reading everything about it. And I just like, well, just like the first time I ever went to the Boundary Waters, I would read, and I had maps, and I found that there was a 200-foot cliff with the waterfall and the very last lake between the U.S. and Canada. And it's actually 500 foot, but the waterfall's like 200. And I thought, how could I make it to this place? And I figured out all the maps and just went up there and went for it. So I'm never thinking about writing or stories. I'm thinking about, you know, chasing some cool moment out in the wilderness, seeing something I've never seen. And I'm journaling the whole way. Like there's just all these stories are from stacks of journals, but it gets to the point where you do something and you know it's such a beautiful or incredible experience that you're like, your whole body, your ribs, your stomach, like you just can't wait to write this down and to even, I use writing to make sense of my life and the world and my place in it. So none of these stories are I set out to write them. I set out to live the experiences, and then you just know when it's a piece worth writing. You just think, oh, that was crazy. I want to write about it and share it with people. And that Patagonia did gently push me to be more, even a little deeper on some heartbreaking stuff with the parent in there. Just like, oh man. And I was like, okay, I'll just let it all hang out here in hopes that all of us, who read it and just know you're not alone when you go through those things. And so that's in there. And gosh, and then, there's funny stories of a stolen truck and chasing after the guy with the sage rod tube.
This was your stolen truck?
No, Kopi Boyda, the Fly Fish Journals truck.
Oh, wow.
And Rolf and I are there. But yeah, when something like that happens, you got to write about it.
Yeah, you do. You do. Wow. So the stories in this book was that hard to choose which ones to bring in there, or was it pretty much just that was an easy one?
I think I narrowed it down to 35 that I just thought were primo and wrote the pieces. And then I kicked out three of them. Just thought, oh, let's make this thing even just more, just creme de la creme. And they could have been in there, but I just wanted anybody who blows $30 on this book, I wanted every word to be as amazing as it could be and inspiring. And I don't think I've ever seen a fly fishing book just, you know, do all these things. Everybody seems to have their little geographic location or they go to lodges and write about it. And that's not me.
Right. Yeah, that's not you. This isn't like going to a fancy lodge, wherever and kind of writing the story and doing a review of the lodge there. It's totally different. You're out there choosing a place. Just you want to experience that place. It sounds
Yeah.
like, and yeah, just connect.
No, I'm in the canoe, sleeping in there with a blanket and got a fire going on some island or in the middle of winter. There's one lodge in there in the Yucatan where somebody bailed out of a trip to this incredibly fancy place, and so my buddies at the fly shop were like, it's all paid for, and I was like, well, cool. Can I buy my ticket down there and find some way to hike into other places, like just leave there and go into the backcountry? And they're like, nah. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna do it. So you'll read that story about the Yucatan in the book, and I get down there and I find a guy who's got a little wooden boat. I'm like, hey, take me into the backcountry. I'll pay you however much you want. And we go in there and we're eating peanut butter sandwiches on Mayan temples that are abandoned. And something happens in that story that just gets bananas and death-defying at the end. But the lodge guy is in there. And he's like, hey, don't you want to? We're the number one destination for permit. And I was like, I don't care about permit. Like, who cares? Like, I'll go stick a jack or something. Like, look,
Right.
like I want to be in the back country where nobody goes, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna wade and hike in there and take a little bit. Like, but I want to do that. I'll be gone all week, so just can I make a bunch of sandwiches? And he just looked at me. He's like, wow. He's like, dude, you could be on a permit boat all day with guides and your meals. And I'm like, yeah, no, sorry,
That's not you.
this is a stump. This is base camp. And he just loved it. He's like, this is great. And, he'd guided rocks like Roger Waters of Pink Floyd
Oh
and
yeah.
Buffett and Vaughn had all these. He was with guiding for Buccaneers and Bones. And so he and I end up going on an adventure together at the very tail end of that trip. It's the craziest.
Oh, right, with the owner of the lodge or the manager.
No, just the manager, this
Yeah,
guy,
manager.
Todd Platt, who's
Yeah.
now he's up in Langara Island in British Columbia running that lodge up there, that salmon lodge that you helicopter in.
Wow.
But even that, I got some maps together and I said, hey Todd, if I catch a helicopter to your island, can you have somebody boat me 30 miles up into this rainforest? And I'm gonna hike into this rainforest and see the Haida indigenous community, and I'm gonna bring an ultralight pack raft and raft this river out where it looks like there's wild cutthroat. And he's just like, yeah, I got you covered. And I was like, okay, cool. He goes, you don't want to stay here? Like, we got this chef. And I was like, no, just have somebody boat me up to that rainforest. He's like, oh, God, okay.
Wow. How long do you think, it's interesting because, we're all getting older and some of these, experiences sound like, not everybody can do them. You get to a point and you can't get around like you used to. Do you ever think about that a little bit, how this is going to evolve once you maybe can't carry that canoe over or experience it the same way you're doing now? Will you still be doing it, or how do you think you're going to change in the next 20 years?
I mean, I just think I'm gonna go and I'll just like explode into air one day
Yeah.
just from running like that car engine, that truck engine that just does it. But I do think about it a lot, and I feel like I have a lot of perspective on the horizon. I don't know when I kick out of here, but I mean, I'm just like I said, I already hiked 5 miles under the moon this morning and swam a mile, and
Man.
like I'm rolling pretty hard, and I'm feeling it, and I've already got an entire 6 to 8 adventures that are just crazier than ever in the canoe for another book. If anybody would Patagonia, maybe who knows what they'll say. I would love to try with them, but
So you're done with this book. You've got another one that you're already thinking about.
Oh man, I can't wait. You wouldn't believe the maps I've got and all the things I've got lined up, like that rainforest thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna roll it. I am, I founded this creative writing program for high school kids, and it gives me health insurance, and it's like 34 months or 34
Wow.
weeks out of the year. So when I'm in Houston, they still give me a lot of leave from there, but I'm gonna do that one more year because God, I just love giving back to the community and young writers. But I think that by next May, I think it's just like just gonna pull out all the stops and see how hard I can go till the truck engine explodes.
That's it. Yeah, don't leave anything out, right? Leave it out all out in the field.
No, no, but I can tell you that if something happened today, that I'd still be laughing like all the way
Yeah.
out of here. I'd be like, "Wow, I never. What? Are you kidding me? What a
Right.
lie! That was the greatest.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Thank you, Mom, for getting me here. Like, what a ride." But that said, like, that's out there for everybody. These people are home watching TV and on their phones, and gosh, it's not a dress rehearsal. Like, this is our one and only life. I'm sorry, but I mean, worst case scenario, ride your bike somewhere to a park and have lunch. Or Alistair Humphreys, you ever heard of that author?
No.
Out of England, he wrote a book called Micro Adventures, and that's a great book to get if you're like maybe you're a business person in the city or you're working 9 to 5s, which is awesome. Everybody has to make a living. But he talks about like on a Tuesday night, find some place where you can sleep, in the woods or camp out at a park near your house, and then be
Right.
like, get up early, make coffee, like have that experience, hear the birds, and then go into your office job or whatever, like these micro adventures.
Right. You can do it. That's it, right?
Yeah, micro adventures, and that's Alistair Humphreys. He's got another book called Rewilding just about to come out. I already pre-ordered it, but I love his work. He had a book where he wanted to walk across Spain, and he didn't have any money, and so he paid for a few violin lessons, even though he'd never played violin, and he sucks. Like he's like squeaking out these tunes. He admits it, but he goes to Spain, and in every little town he comes to, he sets up and just tries to play his 3 tunes and see if anybody will give him money. And
Wow.
it's a rough road. Like he
Oh my
makes it a crowd,
gosh.
but he does it. Like he's like people give him a couple bucks, and he feeds himself and hikes Spain. And that guy was a National Geographic explorer. So he's the real deal. But his books are great if you get a chance to. After you buy Waterlines, of
Yeah,
course.
Waterlines is first. Yeah, we'll definitely we'll be hitting that up first. And the cool thing is that the book's out there now, and there's also an audiobook, so we can listen to you, which is going to be cool to try to find. I mean, I feel like the audiobook, again, for those people that are on the road, obviously it's not as good as reading the book. What's your take on that with the audiobooks? Do you think if somebody was just able to listen to it, how much would they miss or get out of the book versus say reading it?
I think both, but that's 7 hours and 10 minutes of just Flavor Town, man. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
that's
just
you. I feel
being
like it's almost more because you get to listen to you.
oh
It's almost like
man.
this podcast, right? We get to hear
Yeah.
your voice, which is so unique.
So if you're on a boring drive or something, or just like I can't wait to hear it. I heard just a teeny snippet and I was shocked. I was like, wow, what is this microphone?
Oh, no
That
kidding.
sounds incredible. And the producer goes, this microphone is called the broadcaster's dream. I was like, holy
The
that sounds,
broadcaster's
I was
dream.
like, that sounds good. Because when I had to redo the 9 words, I got to hear that sentence played back and I had to punch it in. So, no, it's whatever you dig. So, I don't even know if there's a digital book.
Oh, digital.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it feels like you don't see that as much. It seems like it's audiobooks or you just buy the book, right? The real thing.
Yeah. And you can get it on Patagonia.com or all the big bookstores. If you get it from some big companies, then they take a little extra cut and use it to buy silk pillows for their mega yachts. And we won't name anybody, but we know. But,
Oh yeah.
small bookstores can get it. I even saw it's for sale at Target, which just cracked me up. I'm like,
Oh wow.
what? Oh boy.
Oh man. So right now people can go, like you said, Patagonia, or where would you send them if they want to pick up the book? Where would be the best, easiest place?
Patagonia for sure, or bookshop.org is a great one. But if you Google it, I'm sure you can find it, or just order it locally. And well, it'd be great to support Patagonia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. That's always awesome. That's always our focus, definitely supporting the great companies out there. As we kind of start to take it out here a little bit, what was, I'm just thinking about again the book. You've already got this new one coming, but it seems like water, right? You mentioned surfing. We haven't talked about your music background at all, which is just as amazing, I think, as everything else. But is water always how does that shape, your adventures versus say maybe just the forest, the deserts, or do you separate those two? Is it always around water? Is that always there? Talk about that a little bit.
I think so. I think water, I'm crazy for it. And I talk a lot about it in the book. There's a passage in the Boundary Waters where I talk about the magic and beauty of water. So I'm at that moment in the book, I'm on this lake, and there's a wintertime scene where I'm paddling these ice sheets and in the canoe, and before everything's frozen out for good, that's like the last lake. And I'm just like, imagine where this water could have been, like the whole concept of it, that maybe it was in the Caribbean on some shimmering, turquoise blue reef, and it floated into the clouds, and then storms brought it all the way to Minnesota, and it came down as rain, and then it froze, and like this water could have gone all over the world. So my whole life, I will be bananas for anything to do with water and being in it and riding across it, surfing, feeling like I'm a flying seagull. And the whole thing seems like voodoo. Like, I cannot believe we get to be on this earth, even to walk along the ocean and just stare out at it, like the Pacific there in Oregon. And I could do that all day, every day, the rest of my life. Like, and never not be floored by it. So,
Right.
but yeah, water, that's what's called water lines. And
Exactly. Yeah, water lines.
even when I climb some mountain, I'm looking for an alpine lake. So
Yeah.
there's a great, that's the second story in there is a big alpine lake adventure where I mess up pretty good, or a Black Canyon story down on the Gunnison. And yeah, yeah, no, you got my number.
Yeah, yeah, we know it. We know it's all about the water, and for all of us, I mean, everybody listening here, we're chasing these fish, right? And really, it's not just chasing the fish; it's that experience. The more we do this, I just had Calvin. Shout out to Calvin. He just sent me a photo from a Atlantic salmon he caught up on the Restigouche, and we're going to be fishing Newfoundland for Atlantic salmon this year with Calvin and some folks from the podcast, and I'm excited because it's my first time fishing for Atlantic salmon, but it's not just about the fish. If I go there, if I don't even catch a fish, it's going to be an amazing trip. You know what I mean? I feel like that's always I'm sure that's how you feel about it, but what is it about fly fishing? Because you hear people talk about, oh man, they're chasing the big fish. What do you think they're missing there? Do you think they're missing something, or they just haven't got to that point yet, or do you think we're all in this evolution? And how do you describe that?
Well, I mean, in the first place, it gets you outside to beautiful places. Like, if you're gonna fly fish, you're gonna be somewhere beautiful, even if it's the killer bass pond on a farm or something. It's just good to be out there. But I'm glad you brought it up because there's been, an evolution in me. I'm alone in those Texas and Louisiana marshes in the canoe and in the backcountry. And sometimes I'll come around along on so many big, beautiful redfish some days, on the good days. And I catch only one or two that whole day. There's so many fish that I could light up, and I'm so happy to watch them and paddle. And I'll be out there with a good coffee or bring a cold beer on ice and some tacos and a piece of pie. And I could have caught so many fish, and I just, that's,
You don't have to.
and no, 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 no. Even in the book, it's like, there's a line, how many fish do you need? Just one.
Just one.
So that part of it, but there is something, you know, fly fishing is such a form of meditation, finding that rhythm. And It's almost like it changes your breathing. Just that when you get in time with your line and you get to really be with it and connect with it instead of just bait checkers and conventional fishermen. Fly fishing, it's just like you're a conductor just orchestrating in the sky, and you can't do it without having to get in sync with it, your whole body and your arms and the line, and it's really special. It's just this almost this form of Tai Chi flow. And everybody thinks it's rocket science or voodoo, and fly casting is so easy. It's once you get it, I mean it's I've taught so many kids that I've come, hey, let me take you a bass fishing kid, a neighborhood kid, or and they're like, this is, and they get it. Like as long as you have the right rod set up, like remember those old Sage bass rod series they came out with?
Oh no, I don't. Was this is back in the day?
Yeah, I talk about that a lot, but that's my
Oh
favorite
wow.
rod in the world is the 7'11" Sage bass rod. They had that bass series and they're short, and that is the greatest fly rod to teach somebody to cast on. Like you can't find them. I broke one a couple weeks ago. It's up there at Sage now getting fixed.
Oh, they're fixing it. They're fixing it.
Yeah, supposedly it's been there a while. I'm gonna call those guys.
So it's a 7 foot, almost an 8 foot, basically like a kind of a medium noodly rod, or lots of flex.
So it's cool. It's really cool. It's called the bluegill. But it's really they named it wrong. Like it's I've stuck juvenile tarpon on it
Oh
and
wow.
big pike, and they're 7'11", and it feels like an 8 weight butt that tapers into the sweetest 6 weight you've ever had.
Nice.
And they came with the fly line and a carrying case, and they were like $325 when they came out. But I got three of those. Maybe people could look online, but don't get anyone but the bluegill. Like that's the
The bluegill.
magic. And in the canoe, that type of rod length is perfection. So
Oh, it is. So that's eight. You don't want to go for a 9 foot
you can
or
do it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
9 foot's great. But I like short, tight. Like I'm in mangroves and rad forest lakes, and I love shorter rods that just. Oh man. Well, I mean, I love casting underhanded and sideways, and
Right.
so
Yeah. God. And that canoe, is that canoe are you taking that canoe? I guess you're taking it around the country, right? Is that pretty much always going with you?
yes, I have three of those. The same one.
Oh, you do.
Yeah. And I'm crazy for it. It's the Merrimack Osprey, and they're just a fortune now. I think they're 5 grand.
Wow. Wow.
But I've had mine in every ocean, and I've had it. Unfortunately, it was caught in a hurricane last summer, and that'll be in the next book.
Oh,
That was
wow.
quite a night. It was midnight, and I was wearing flip-flops and out in it, and oops,
Out in a hurricane.
accidentally. I just was on this.
Yeah, it wasn't planted on it.
No, it was bad.
God, crazy. Okay, so that'll be in the next one. We'll track it down. When do you think that next book? Do you already set a date or have a goal for when you want to get that thing out there?
We'll just see what happens out there. I'm not worried about it. I just want to go live it. And
Yeah, just do it.
I have no idea, Dave.
Yeah.
But
I feel like goals are nice to have because it kind of keeps you, on track, but sometimes it sounds like the way you do it, if you got to focus on just living it. Just experiment.
yeah.
It'll come. It sounds like you'll know. Will you know when this book is ready?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Especially after all I learned doing this book with such great editors and the team. And like, okay, that's how you do a book now on the highest level. Like I said, Patagonia was flying around the country interviewing painters. Like,
Right.
God, they just like to a T, they want everything to be the greatest it can be.
Perfect.
Like, that was nuts.
Yeah, this is exciting. Well, we'll definitely be checking this out here. Give me one. We'll just take it out of here. You mentioned we kind of been going back and forth, but if you think of a younger river horse back in the day, what do you think? Maybe just take it back to let's go back to your 20s or 30s, somewhere in there. What do you think would surprise that river horse about this book and kind of where you're at now?
I mean, I always dreamed it. Even at the very beginning of the book, I'm in the public libraries reading in Austin, and they had a contest one summer where for every book you read, you write a little thing about it, and they give you a train car with your name on it, like a fake construction So I'm sitting at the public library in Austin as a 6-year-old, and I read so many books. My train goes around the entire library.
No kidding.
And it's like the end of June, and I'm loving. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fill this whole library. And they stopped me, and I was like,
Really?
well, what are you talking about? They're like, dude, you're good. You took your train around. We've been putting up your train cars, and so obviously I'm crazy for books and words, and I feel that that's our human experience. The way it's its own form of art, just painting. And I always dreamed of doing a book someday. And so I would just tell myself, yeah, keep going because it's going to happen. You chase that dream and it'll happen. And didn't ever know for sure it would happen with a publishing company as incredible as Patagonia. So even Carla, the publisher at Patagonia, I saw an interview she did once and she told the interviewer, hey, we're in a position that no other book company in the world is in. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, we don't publish a book to make money. We publish a book because the world needs it. And I was like, holy cow. And so then they take water lines and they say, yeah, the world needs this. And I'm like, well, just an honor. But I think that book kicks ass. And I would love for everybody to take the ride.
I'm super excited. No, this is going to be a great year. I think we're excited to jump into this and kind of go deep with you, and maybe just give a shed light. You've obviously got this going. Are you still doing some other? Are you still writing in other publications, or does the book just consume you fully, and that's your focus?
No, I'm in the Fretboard Journal right now. A cool story about an old tape player and my rescue cat driving across the country. I'm in the Flyfish Journals, publishing the Gunnison Canyon. I'm in the Town Quest Report with all these guitar stories, and I just love writing.
Yep. And the music.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about a little bit of the music on the last episode. I think we did, but maybe just give us take us out of here with something on your music. Like maybe give us a. I can't remember. Describe your style. What's your do you kind of cover it all, or because you play the guitar, right?
Yeah, this house is filled with old guitars and amps. I am Hendrix and Pink Floyd crazy.
Okay.
Love Gilmore and Hendrix, but I played with orchestras. I did all the music for a modern ballet Houston Ballet did years ago. I love acoustic stuff. And in the book, there's a story where I'm in the water behind the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio, fishing. But I talk about like these my band experiences and music and guitar. And there's another part of the book even where Stevie Ray Vaughan's amp was stolen and I get it back in a Super 8 hotel parking lot and this guy's got a shotgun. These druggies is just a weird one. Or ZZ Top, the famous singer, and my buddy, he comes to the house and that's a story called Big Tex in the book. Comes over for
Yeah, ZZ
some
Top.
shenanigans. So there's some good music stuff in there. But
That is good stuff. Is ZZ Top? Are they from? What do you know their story? Are they from Texas?
oh yeah, they're Houston.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
Houston.
Billy's pretty cool when he shows up. To take you out for a drink or to dinner. It hasn't happened a lot of times, but it's just weird. It's like, wow, there's nobody that looks like him.
No, this is with the full beard.
Yeah, Billy, like he pulls up in a black Cadillac with a driver and comes in the house and he starts playing your guitars and it's
Oh my
like,
God.
this is cool.
Wow. That's ZZ Top. What is ZZ Top? I mean, they had a ton. What would be a song we could take it out, maybe listen to it on the way out of here today? What would you throw out there?
Oh gosh. I mean I just like waiting for the bus.
Oh, waiting for the bus. Okay.
Jesus just left Chicago. Those are just slow, brown sugar, bluesy.
Oh, nice.
I mean, he just milks those leads.
That's
And,
right. Waiting for the
whether you're
bus.
religious or not, it's not about that. It's about, it's
No.
just that Texas groove. But
Oh, it's so sweet.
Texas is the place.
Yeah,
Stevie
Texas is the
Ray,
place.
Willie Nelson, like if you play guitar here, you better throttle that thing. You better get it on.
Oh, man, I love the Willie Nelson story because it's he goes to Nashville back in the day, right? And he tries to do the music thing, and it just it never works, right? Until he moves back to Texas and says, I'm gonna do my thing. And that's where it feels like Texas is that. What is it about Texas? You hear a lot of people loving. Why are people drawn to Texas?
Just that panache and that just, it's bigger than Spain. So you got the
Yeah,
desert,
it's huge.
West Texas, Big Bend, you got the hill country. There's 7 spring-fed emerald rivers. You got East Texas with the piney woods, just all the hilarious, somewhat quasi-cheesiness of Dallas.
Right.
And there's great food, chef, medicine, all the oil money. So the art world's crazy here. It's just got so much going on. Holy moly. And just like the Latino culture is so awesome. So awesome. The food and the people that comes with them and the Tejano music and the country music. Like we got 330 miles of barrier islands to go
Wow.
red fishing on. Like 330 miles? Like,
That's
holy
insane.
moly.
Yeah, that's it.
Down to Padre, and even SpaceX is down there. Like there's a piece in the book where I'm undercover with the game wardens, and we got bulletproof vests and machine guns, and
Whoa.
we like go down there to stop. The drug cartels are forcing these indigenous fishermen to do long lining and shark finning,
Oh,
and
wow.
we chase these guys and bust and save. It's a crazy story. Like even when Patagonia found out about it, they had a meeting and they're like, "Dude, this is Riverhorse. No, we've never had guns in a story, and you guys are freaking us out." And I was like, "Well, this is on me." And they're like, "Okay, go do it."
Yeah. Wow.
So that's in the book,
That's
but
in it
it's
too.
a Texas story, and it's some of that takes place right down there near SpaceX. It's crazy.
Oh man, this is good. Well, I think we've definitely highlighted a good chunk here today, and I think we can maybe leave it there and take everybody to Riverhorse Nakadate on Instagram if they want to track you down, or Patagonia to find the book. And Riverhorse, thanks again for the great episode. We will obviously be in touch with you, and thanks for all the inspiration out there.
You bet. Big love from here, buddy. Love you so much, and the podcast that you do is just amazing. And I freaking get so happy when you're gonna have me on because you're just such a good hang and doing great work. And I wanna be up there on Highway 26, hanging with you and getting together
Yeah.
sooner than later. As soon as
Yeah, let's do it.
since I'm coming through there for the book, I hope I didn't give away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, we'll follow up. That's what we need to do. You're going to be doing a tour too, right? Here on and stopping.
Oh man, I'm everywhere that tour. Patagonia doesn't mess
Oh,
around.
good.
I'll be Portland on the 23rd, Seattle, Port Patagonia, Austin on June 23rd,
Okay.
and June 24th, Seattle Emerald Waters, June 25th, Bellingham. I'm doing Houston, Dallas, and Austin right before that, and then like Boston, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Nashville, St. Paul,
Oh man.
just Boulder, Bozeman.
Wow. What are those tours? What does that look like when you're out there? You go to the fly shop or the Patagonia store, and you just describe that. What is it like at those stops?
Well, it'll be like 3 guys that look like they're extras on Golden Pond, 3 old dudes, and I'll be sitting there awkwardly.
Yeah.
And
Right.
at the end of it, they'll come up and tell me about the biggest brown trout they ever caught, and they won't even buy the book, and then they'll walk off, and I'll be like, "Yeah, this is the big time." No,
Right.
no, I'm kidding. That's what
Nice.
you worry about as a
Right. That's
writer.
what you
You're like,
worry about.
man,
Right. Nobody
I
shows
hope
up.
someone shows up, not some.
We're gonna get some people to show up. At least a
Yeah,
few.
but Emerald Water sells out. Like Houston will sell out. So
Okay.
many of these events sell out, and Patagonia usually has beer and
Oh
food
wow.
and giveaways, and no, that it'll be awesome. But some gigs are, more better than others, and a lot of them are weeknights, and it's summertime and fall, so that'd be a killer. Sometimes they show one of the films I'm in and have a band play. And
This is good. Okay.
I was going to tell you Willie Nelson story
Oh yeah.
because
Let's
we were
let's
talking about that.
let's hear Willie. Yeah. Do you have a Willie? Is now Willie Nelson? Is this in the book, or is this just another story?
No, it's not.
All right.
But you brought it up. We talked about it. But I was over there in his ranch doing a story with him and Freddie Powers. who was Merle Haggard's guitarist. But
Oh,
anyway, I
right.
did a story for the Fretboard Journal on a guy named Paul Buskirk, who's not alive anymore. But Paul Buskirk was playing on all these old Lefty Frizzell albums. He was like this electric mandolin, just wild man, cowboy. And Willie would listen to Lefty Frizzell. Willie was a clean-cut DJ in the 50s at a little radio station.
Right, that's right.
And he'd always hear the music. Buskirk played with Chet Atkins, and he would travel around with like a covered wagon and drop the back down in a small town. And so when the back goes down, it made a stage, and he just jammed for money
Wow.
for all these. Anyway, Willie gets a hold of Buskirk and says, "Hey, can I interview you on the radio? Like, this is you on all these albums." And so Buskirk comes in for the interview, and Willie's just this short-haired, clean-cut, like dude. And Buskirk says to him, "Do you want to play guitar? Like, I would give lessons. I can teach you to play a little. I'll keep you one lesson ahead, and you go for it, dude." And Willie starts, and
Wow.
that's kind of the chrysalis of Willie, as I understand it.
That's
So,
it.
but
That's where the guitar is. And then, of
it
course,
is,
now his famous guitar.
yeah, we could definitely queue up on the road again
Yeah.
for if you want to, even better than the ZZ. Like, who knows? It's all
Yeah, that's
good.
right. Yeah, yeah. And I know. Willie's always been my top. Yeah, just everything. I mean, he's been such a songwriter too, right? He's written some amazing songs for other greats.
Yeah, and those live covers of Whiskey River, they're so fun.
Yeah.
I wish there was less harmonica. That guy's an incredible harp player, but I want to play guitar with Willie. Like, let me take a solo, man.
Yeah, that's right. So, but you sat down with Willie. You've chatted with him.
Passed through there, yeah, for a story on Freddie Pyrus. Very cool.
Yeah.
But
Right.
even the deer, like, you'll find out in the book that I've never done a drug in my life, like an
You haven't?
anti-drug. No, never even tried a cigarette or weed or anything. And
No kidding.
I talk about it in the book. That's just,
Yeah.
I don't need that. And I like a Dairy Queen ice cream cone.
Right. Well, and I guess alcohol is technically, but that's a little bit different, right?
But I'm so like, imagine if I smoked a joint, like I wouldn't be able to tie my boots for a month probably. Like, I'm already so cruisy. But anyway, as I driving through Willie's Ranch, there's all these wild deer there, and even those deer look like they'd been smoking. I'm like, look at everybody. This whole ranch is probably blasted.
Oh yeah.
It was so funny. And sure enough, he's like, "You want some reefer, boy?" I was
Did
like,
he offer
"No."
you? He offered you
Yeah,
some?
not Willie, Paul. I mean, Freddie did. And I was like,
Oh,
"No,
Freddie,
sir.
right.
I'm driving a truck. I'm good."
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool. I feel like we have a person we follow. Well, I'm not even sure if we've talked about this before, but Superman. He is a Native American artist, hip hop artist out in like Wyoming, and he is same thing. Never touched, and obviously, you think some of the background there with some of the. I can't remember the name of his, the native tribe he's with there, but he talked about not in his life. He hasn't, and he describes it, right? And we've been to a couple of his shows, and I think it's pretty powerful because I know in my family, we have huge alcoholism is a big struggle, and drugs, and you hear these stories, and I've friends that have died. I don't know. I guess it's pretty powerful, right? I think that at some point, even if you've done it before, like right now, I'm kind of like, I'm out of that, right? I do. Even beer, I'm kind of on the wagon trying to be like, you know what? I think trying to go totally without anything is cool.
Well, the first beer is the best beer anyway.
Yeah.
Like, the second beer doesn't taste.
No. Yeah, you really only need one if you have a beer, right?
Yeah, but I always look at it as our body and our incredible brain. That's your light, and you only have one light. And if you dim your light,
that's right,
boy, you'll never get it back. And boy, I can't risk that. Like, I don't, nor do I need it. Like I said, like a Dairy Queen ice cream cone to me feels like a gateway drug right there. Like, I'm so happy rocking one of those dip cones, and there's plenty of Dairy Queen in the book. But
there is. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's so many ways to get high. Well, I say it in the book, like, if you can't be beyond high from being out in the wilderness, like, you're not living right.
I know. That's what it's all about. Cool, Riverhorse. Well, I think we will leave it there for today until we get you on here in the next one and maybe talk about that next book. Thanks again for all your time, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, take care, brother.
Please check in with Riverhorse. Let him know you heard this podcast, and please check in with his book. Go to Patagonia.com or check in with your local fly shop. This is an exciting one. Can't wait to get this out to everyone out there. I'm going to be listening to the audiobook as well as I go, and get a little bonus Riverhorse on the phone today. And if you want to check in with me, join the crew here, Wet Fly Swing Pro. We've got a bunch of great stuff coming this year, including this next week. We've got the Stillwater School is back with Phil Roy. We're launching the Stillwater School. This is going to be a big event. We are going to be doing a giveaway next week. If you want to get access to save one of the spots that are going to go quick for this one, we're heading back to Henry's Lake, and we're going to be fishing some of those great waters around eastern Idaho. If you want to check in and fish one of the great fisheries with one of the best in Stillwater, send me an email, dave@wetflyswing.com. If you want to assure that you can get a spot, you can just join Wet Fly Swing Pro at wetflyswing.com/pro. That's the best chance to get access. And we always let our pro members have first access to trips. So if you haven't yet, check in there. And that's all I have for you. I'm going to get out of here. We got a busy day today, as always. I want to remind you to follow, subscribe to the show. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, we got some big stuff coming this year where we're basically summarizing a lot of these episodes and adding some new full-length content there. So check out with our YouTube channel. Deep breath. All right. Final thoughts today. The fish are great. The stories are better. And the stories that happen as you go. Riverhorse always inspires us to remember that it's not just about the fish. It's about that journey. And that's why you should be planning that next trip. And I hope you're having a good one. I hope you have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. And I hope to see you and talk to you on the next episode. We'll talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to the Wet Fly Swing Fly Fishing Show. For notes and links from this episode, visit wetflyswing.com.